would have the audacity to literally put his life on the line and risk the lives of your fellow crew members and family, all for the chance of liberty and freedom? Well, that man would be Robert Smalls. On May 13th, 1862, Smalls led his fellow shipmates, whom all were slaves, and they commandeered the Confederate steamer CSS Planter, a first-class coastwise steamer right out of Fort Sumter during the Civil War. Once outside of Confederate waters, he had his crew raise a white flag and surrendered his ship to the blockading Union fleet. In fewer than 4 hours, Robert Smalls had done something unimaginable. In the midst of the Civil War, this black male slave had commandeered a heavily armed Confederate ship and delivered its 17 black passengers, 9 men, 5 women, and 3 children from slavery to freedom. How did he accomplish such a courageous feat? I believe he did it because he thought he could. Though he had been victimized, he didn't see himself as a victim. He saw himself as a victor and overcomer. And because of his boldness, he emboldened others to follow him. I'm sure he had a plan and he had faith, but Scripture says faith without works is dead. I'm sure he also prayed to God to free him from slavery, but ultimately he did what Frederick Douglass said he did to overcome being a slave. He prayed with his feet and set himself free. Let me read this quote from Professor Henry Louis Gates. Following the war, Smalls continued to push the boundaries of freedom as a first-generation black politician, serving in the South Carolina State Assembly and Senate, and for 5 non-consecutive terms in the U.S. House of Representatives, serving as a Republican, from 1874 to 1886, before watching his state roll back Reconstruction in a revised 1895 Constitution that stripped blacks of their voting rights. He died in Beaufort, February 22nd, 1915, in the same house behind which he had been born a slave, and is buried behind a bust in the Tabernacle Baptist Church. In the face of the rise of Jim Crow, Smalls stood firm as an unyielding advocate for the political rights of Black Americans. Here's a direct quote from him. "My race needs no special defense for the past history of them and this country. It proves them to be equal of any people anywhere. All they need is an equal chance in the battle of life." Because Robert Smalls saw himself as a victor, he changed the course of history, set his peers and his family free. I wonder as to how many lives he positively affected in stirring up the courage to believe they could literally change their circumstance and attain freedom and liberty.